Hello, and welcome to Second Beat. Today we welcome Shannon Oherlihy, also known in real life as Shannon Mcmahon. She is a singer-songwriter from the state of Connecticut. She creates contemporary folk music with rich vocals telling stories of the human experience. At an early age, she got her first guitar, wrote her first song, and began performing in front of an audience at church, coffee houses, and other functions. At the age of 17, Shannon auditioned for and was accepted into a vocal performance class at the New School in New York City, taught by Brown Bradley. In 1996, Shannon recorded her debut CD, Some of My Years, an independent release that features 12 original songs in contemporary folk style with a hint of country flavor. She has a warm and earnest voice with leanings towards the sounds of Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell. Since 2008, Shannon has also been performing daily for worldwide audiences in Second Life. She was chosen as a finalist for the Connecticut Folk Festival in 2015 and was also selected as an alternate for the 2015 Connecticut Songwriting Contest. Wishing on Plains is Shannon's new album. Her music is available on Apple Music, Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CD Baby, and ShannonMcMahonMusic.com. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
How did you find out about Second Life, and what made you decide to join?
Well, my husband was always at his computer. So one day I asked him, "What are you doing down here?" And he was showing me what he was doing in Second Life. I said, "That's so cool." So I signed up, got an account and everything, and I hung out with him, maybe once or twice a week. And then I heard my first music program, and I said, I can do that. So it was actually a year and a half after I signed up that I started playing music in Second Life. And I haven't looked back. It'll be 10 years in October.
At your shows, you talk about how Second Life revitalized your passion for songwriting and singing by winning a songwriter's contest. Can you tell us more about that and about the winning song?
Sure. When I started in Second Life in 2008, I was on a songwriting drought. I hadn't written a song in 11 or 12 years. So along comes this contest for the SL faction of Amnesty International, and they were doing a songwriting contest. And people urged me to submit something. I was a little, trepidatious because I hadn't written anything in a while and I wanted it to be really good. But I just figured whatever I wrote would be good because it would be then a song, which I hadn't had any in a while. So I wrote the song, I submitted it. There were probably 25 other songs, 25 other SL artists, all with great entries. I heard all of them. And I was really surprised when my song was chosen the favorite of everybody who voted. I didn't believe that because it was the first song I'd written in a long time.
It seems that you find a lot of influences for songwriting in Second Life. Specifically in the song Emotional Vampire, your lyrics describe some SL participants as using SL as a virtual hunting ground to prey upon the emotions of real people, described as it's a game, it's a sport, watching as the teardrops fall. I love this song. I absolutely identify with it based on some of my own experiences in Second Life, as I'm sure many of your other listeners do as well. Was there a particular incident that led up to you writing this song?
I think it was a few things. After being in Second Life a year or more. And I was in here all the time. I wasn't working at the time. So I spent a lot of time in Second Life doing 2 or 3 shows a day and then just hanging out, going to shows and meeting people. And just the different people that I met and the different situations kind of led to this song about, the type of person that inhabits Second Life. Not all of them, but there are quite a few that are like that, and you just kind of have to watch out for that.
It's a really good, as you describe, a cautionary tale that I wish all new Second Life residents would hear at least one time. In your song, 40 Years On, you often introduce it as a song that was inspired by the story from a Vietnam vet that you met and became friends with in Second Life. Can you talk about this more in depth?
Sure. This song was written for Jimmy Alter. He was a Vietnam vet here in Second Life. And he had a huge memorial to, veterans of all wars. And I don't know, for some reason, the Vietnam War has always been like a pet cause of mine. And he asked me if I would write a song for him. And he sent me a note card detailing, his experience. And I had to distill that into a song. It was very difficult, actually, because writing for somebody else, it's different. You're telling their story. You're not telling your own story, or not telling a story you've made up, or whatever it is. So it was a little difficult, but I think I nailed it. When he heard it for the first time, he really loved it. He passed away before the final recording was made, so he never did hear that. He only heard the demo version. But even his wife said he really, really loved that song. So I was honored to be asked and honored to write it. And my hope for that song is that it reaches the ears of the people that need to hear it, and that it is healing for them.
In your song, Sometimes I Pretend, you discuss the cutting and harsh interpretations of beauty and how beauty defines a woman's sense of self-worth. And you question this with, who is to say that you're not beautiful? How can they define you from the outside? The light shines from within, and underneath the skin, there's beauty there that cannot be denied. I was greatly impressed with this song, and I feel that it is an important song for all women to hear. Can you talk about the inspiration that ultimately influenced you to write this song?
Well, this was a song that kept bugging me to write it. I would get a couple of different phrases and I would write them down. That's usually what I do when I hear a string of words. It sounds like it could be something. I write them down. I have a book. I have a book on my desk. I have a book upstairs. I just keep books around so I can write little things in them so I don't forget them. In fact, the other day I was in the car and I thought of a couple lines, so I had Siri take a note so I wouldn't lose them. But this one kept poking at me to write it, and so I did. And it's kind of personal, but it's kind of not. And I feel that most of my songs are kind of personal, so I feel like I'm putting a lot out there when I play them. But this one really was about confidence in who you are. I find that once you reach a certain age, women become invisible. And I wanted to kind of combat that, and the confidence in that I could pretend that I am beautiful or know that I am beautiful. But if I pretend that I'm beautiful, that is going to exude to the public. So if I feel I'm beautiful, then everyone else will too.
In your song, If I Could Stop Time, you describe the influence for the song as having witnessed an automobile accident, but it comes across in a more universal way about a kind of unexpected loss. Is that intentional?
I didn't really intend for that, but I'm glad that it does come across universally. It really was the accident and how time stops for a split second, and you kind of, your life flashes before you or whatever. And as I was writing it, I realized, well, this kind of could go for relationships as well. Just it would work that way too. But I really, the accident was the inspiration, if you will, for that song.
Can you talk about the song To Her Memory? I just heard that on the radio the other day. Who is that song written for?
To Her Memory was written for my best friend growing up. Her name was Mary, and we were the 26th twins. I was born on April 26th, and she was born on August 26th. And we were just together all the time. And she passed away back in 1992 of cancer. So a year later, I wrote this song. I couldn't get close to it before then. I needed some time, obviously. So I wrote this, and for for our relationship and all that as friends, and that's the inspiration. I still keep in touch with her family. They send me birthday cards every year, all these years. But we were kids together, growing up, and she was a great friend, and I still miss her all these years later.
It was a beautiful tribute to her. You are accompanied on your albums by really terrific drums, fiddle, organ, and other instruments. Are these played by you, or are these studio musicians?
Generally, they're studio musicians. Actually, on both albums, my producers, because I had two different producers for both, for one for one album, one for the other. They played a lot of the instruments, just right there. So, but I did have studio musicians as well for both albums. I had, for the latest one, I had a backup singer, harmonica player, a mandolin player. They all came in to assist on the album. And then the previous one, I think there was a bass player, vocalist, violin player. So they add so much, I think, to the songs. The If I Could Stop Time features Tamara Hayden on viola. I just love that sound. I was looking for a cello-like sound, but I didn't know anyone who played. So I asked if Tamara could play a viola line, and I think it really works.
You've been performing at Natita Campfire every Sunday night for how many years?
Natita took over for another show I had at the Treehouse. That one started in probably 2009. And then several years ago, the sim changed hands or whatever. So I've been doing the Natita show probably about 3-ish years, maybe. And the rest was the Treehouse. Maybe it's 4 years. It's so hard. Time goes by so fast. I can't keep track of it. But I've been doing a Sunday night show at 6 p.m. probably since late 2008 or early 2009.
That's over 10 years of a committed time slot for performing in Second Life. That's absolutely amazing.
I have several shows like that. My Tuesday night show is a long-running show. That's probably late 2008, early 2000. So it means a lot to me that I've been playing there that long and that people still want me to play. So I like to keep those because they mean a lot.
And
Not that I don't like other shows, but it's nice to have long-running shows too.
And where do you perform on Tuesdays?
Tuesdays are at the Daiquiri Coast Chill area.
And do you have another performance night, or do you just do Tuesday and Sunday?
I I do every other Monday at Prim Economy, 6 p.m. Tranquil Cafe was off for the summer. I have to rework whatever date that's going to be. I play once a month at the Hotel Chelsea. In fact, I just played there last night. I play the Dirty Grind, I think, every other week or once a month. I have to see what I can figure out for that one. And the Sunday one, of course. And then anything else that comes along randomly, I might throw in there. And then I have a once a month Thursday, first Thursday, at Anne's Place of Grace Ballroom. So it's kind of all over the map there.
What's the best thing about performing in Second Life that keeps you coming back?
My favorite thing about performing in Second Life is the fact that I can sit here in my basement studio and reach people all over the world. It's still unfathomable to me that I can be sitting here and people in Australia or China, Japan, I don't know, anywhere can be listening to me. I was doing a show once and somebody chimed in on Facebook, said, "Hey, we're listening from the crater of a volcano out here in Australia." And it's just mind-boggling. But it's so nice because this is an audience that I would never get in a local bar or venue around where I live.
What would you like to say to your fans, or what would you like to say about your Second Life music experience so far?
I can't believe it's been 10 years, but it wouldn't be 10 years without the support, of friends and fans who faithfully come to shows and buy the CDs and all of that. That means a lot to me that people are still coming to hear me sing and play, and they're still asking me to play their venues. I wouldn't be able to sustain anything like that if not for the people who enjoy my music and support it and support live music in Second Life too. That's a big, awesome community of amazing, talented musicians here in Second Life. I've been so lucky to have played with them, to have met them. I've gone to several jams, and it's not something I'm willing to give up.
I think you had told me before that fans from Second Life also have traveled great distances to go to your real life performances also.
Yes. One time I was playing with Dan Russo. We were playing at a bar in New York, and one of my fans was coming over to spend time in New York, and they'd literally gotten off the airplane from France, a couple hours before the show. But they came over anyway, and they heard me play, and that dedication, it's amazing. I just played a show back in April where somebody, built their trip around coming to hear me play. I love that. I love it when fans come and seek me out and say hello. So I've had several experiences where fans have either driven a distance or flown a distance and made the effort to come to a show.
It's been my great pleasure to have you here on Second Beat interviewing with me. I love your music. I'm a big fan, and I'm delighted that we got to sit and talk today. Would you be willing to perform a few songs for us?
Sure. What would you like to hear?
I would love to hear If I Could Stop Time, and also To Her Memory.
Okay, you've got it.
All right, here we go. If I could stop time. Is it better if you don't see it coming? When you don't have the time to prepare? In a split second, everything changes, and life gets scattered everywhere. If I could stop time dead in its tracks, freeze my whole life, what would I find? If I could stop time dead in its tracks, freeze my whole life, what would I find? And someday everything in motion must find some way to slow down, hurtling through the air at warp speed. There's no other way to go but down. If I could stop time dead in its tracks, freeze my whole life, what would I find? If I could stop time dead in its tracks, freeze my whole life, what would I find? Can anyone stop this treadmill? I keep pushing that boulder up the hill. And why am I living like Sisyphus, expecting the same result still? If I could stop time dead in its tracks, freeze my whole life, what would I find? If I could stop time dead in its tracks, freeze my whole life, what would I find? Oh, what would I find? What would I find? Thank you so much. All right. This is to her memory. A year has come and gone since she passed away, and I've got something to say to her memory. We were the best of friends through thick and thin, with nothing left to give. She gave it anyway. Time will heal my pain with a sweet falling rain of tears. Time will heal my grief with a belief she lives on in me. We grew up together in a small town in the Midwest, till I moved out east and put our friendship to the test. But the miles between us didn't change things, even though we went our separate ways. There was a common thread that bound us together until the last of her days. Time will heal my pain with a sweet falling rain of tears. Time will heal my grief with a belief she lives on in me. Time will heal my pain with a sweet falling rain of tears. Ooh. Thank you so much.